You will not feel like this forever. Time always heals. And I know that sounds like one of those things people say when they don't know what else to say, but I think it's true. When something first happens, it may feel permanent to you. It feels like this is just your life now. Like the feeling you woke up with today is the feeling you're going to wake up with for the next year, the next 5 years, or maybe even forever. And when you're in the middle of it, nobody can really convince you otherwise. If it's your first real heartbreak, it feels like the end of everything. If you lose someone, it feels like the world should stop, even though it just won't. If you mess up something badly, fail something, someone betrays you, if your life suddenly looks different than it did yesterday, your brain reacts like this one moment is the whole story. But it's not. It feels like the whole story because you're standing too close to it. That's what pain does. It zooms in on it. It removes the rest of your life from view. You stop thinking about next month, next year, the person you could become, the things that could still happen. All you can see is what happened, what they said, what you lost, and what changed, what you wish you could undo. And I don't think the answer is to pretend it doesn't hurt. That never works. Telling yourself, I'm fine, when you're clearly not fine, just makes everything sit deeper inside of you. You don't become stronger by acting like nothing affected you. You just become harder to reach. The first thing I genuinely believe you need to do when something bad happens is to tell someone. Anyone you trust. A friend, a family member, someone older, someone who has actually been through life a bit. Maybe even a therapist if you have one. Just don't let your own head become the only room this feeling lives in. Because when you're hurt, your thoughts start lying to you. We've seen it in movies or in comics, whatever. That devil you have on your shoulder. That's like a real thing. We cannot control our mind fully, and even if we overcome it from time to time, there's always a voice in our head that might talk down on us and makes us feel like we cannot do something, that we are not capable of doing something. It may take a painful situation and build an entire future around it. It tells you that you'll never feel normal again. It tells you that that person was your only chance. And when you're alone with those thoughts for too long, they start sounding believable. That's why talking actually matters. So don't believe that the other person will magically fix your life in one conversation. That's not possible. And that's also not how it works. Most of the time, people won't have the perfect answer. But what they will do is they will sit there and listen to you. Very often, that's already enough for the first step. You need something outside of your own head to remind you that this moment is real, but it's not the entire world. I used to think reaching out was pointless. Why would I tell someone something I already know? And why would I make myself vulnerable? And to be real, I think a lot of people think like that until they actually need help. Because once you really, really need help, there's no way around that. And it's very freeing if you do it. So take that advice. And don't compare your pain. That's what a lot of people do. You go through something that hurts you, and then you might be comparing it to other people's problems. And you think, well, not as bad as they have it or something, or it's not worth to grieve about, but that doesn't help. And of course, some situations are heavier than others, but comparing your hurt to someone else's doesn't make you heal faster. There's always a reason for us to feel down or at our lowest. People that are rich can still have problems. Their problems are just as reasonable as the ones that broke people have. I believe that no matter how high your standard of living is, what type of situation you are in, how blessed you are, there will always be something on your mind that will bother you from time to time. Of course, you might have periods where you are happier than others and periods where you can blend out the bad things, but they will always be around. There will always be something that could be better. So let yourself admit it. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, healing sounds nice until you realize healing is mostly waiting, while still choosing not to destroy yourself. It's waking up and still feeling bad. And it's a difficult thing. I mean, after a long time, you will heal. I believe in that. But if you can solve them earlier, you should definitely do it. And also, healing doesn't move in a straight line. Some days you will feel like you're over it, and then something tiny will bring it back. And suddenly you are right there again. And that doesn't happen if you are actually over it because you maybe talk to someone about it or actually solve the problem. I really like thinking about like an actual wound because it makes more sense that way. When something hurts you emotionally, it leaves a mark. At first it's open, everything touches it, everything makes it worse. You can't move normally because the pain is right there. Then slowly it starts to scab over. And that stage is kind of weird because it still bothers you. You still notice it. But if you keep picking at it, it opens again. And that's what a lot of us do emotionally. Checking their Instagram is going to hurt you, but you do it anyway. You know, rereading old messages is going to put you back in that place, but you convince yourself you just need one more look. And I get it, sometimes letting go feels like losing them again. So you keep touching the wound just to make sure it's still there. But that's not how healing works. That's reopening it. Though you can't heal from something if you keep walking back into it every day. It can be hard when your brain still checks for them automatically, but you have to break that habit to make yourself feel better and to improve your situation. Healing doesn't erase what happened, it just stops letting it control every part of you. That's what I think people misunderstand about time always heals. It doesn't always mean you forget. Doesn't mean you wake up one day and everything is clean and perfect. You have no feelings about it anymore. Some things just stay with you. There are situations that shape the way you move through life, but eventually they become part of your story instead of writing it. What I really am trying to say with this video is that you should not be caught up with these things. You know, I had a friend go through a really ugly breakup, and we also tried to keep him distracted all the time. And a lot of it was just sitting around, playing games, making dumb jokes, eating junk food, just keeping him around people so he wouldn't have to be alone all day. Because over time, you will just keep replaying every situation, and that won't do any good for you. So you should really try to move on. Time always heals, I do believe in that. Sometimes you can fix the problem a little earlier, and you don't have to wait for it to leave your mind. And if that's talking or opening up about your issue, you should do that. But also, as I said, distraction is also a way that kind of goes hand in hand with time healing the wound. Our friend was glad we were there. It's not always about the best advice. He said he didn't know what he would have done without having people around him during that time. And that stuck with me because it reminded me that support doesn't always look like perfect advice. And I know not everyone feels like they have a big support system. I also don't have a lot of friends. But I still believe there's usually some kind of help somewhere, even if it's not the exact help you imagined. Let's say a teacher, one decent friend, some random family member, a community maybe even. There will be someone. So don't make permanent decisions while you're drowning in temporary pain. Don't pick at the wound just because healing feels too slow. Let it close. Let yourself be sad without making sadness your whole identity. Also, let yourself move forward even if you don't feel ready, because readiness doesn't always come first. Sometimes you move forward while still hurting, and the healing catches up later. And I believe one day you will notice the memory doesn't hit as hard. One day you will talk about it and realize your voice doesn't shake anymore. That's how you also know that time has been working. And when that day comes, you might not even celebrate it. You might just notice it and think, oh, I guess I'm doing better. And that small moment is worth waiting for. That's actually crazy because you were so caught up with that and somehow you just forget about something that was holding you back for so long. So if you are going through something right now, please don't isolate yourself with it. Talk to someone. Stop comparing your pain to others people's pain. And stop reopening the wound just to see if it still hurts. You won't feel like this forever. Time needs space to work and you should give it that. You got this.